Everybody, thank you very much for all coming back tonight to A History Of. As always, we are joined by the wonderful, going slightly grey-bearded Richard Madsen. Richard, let everyone know who you are and say hello.
Peace and respect to you all. I am Richard Madsen, just as billed. Let's see, what am I about? Oh my gosh. A very new view to very old stories. And that alone is mega weird. That's enough about that. So that's what we're doing. We're talking about these old stories. And you know, Math, the more that I talk about it, the more it seems to me I'm bad at explaining it.
Yeah.
You know? I wish I was better at it. I wish for everyone that I were better at it. I'm just not very good at explaining what I see. And that becomes obvious to me when you say, well, Richard, that doesn't make sense because of reasons A, B, C, and D, and I can see why you'd say it. And I think, man, I wish I was better at this.
Well, that's because practice makes perfect.
It's so easy for me, and it's so hard for other people to see the same thing.
Well, that's why we're here, Richard. Practice. If anything, practice. You know, I'm going to scream alien overlords at you. Not so much, though, in the Epic of Gilgamesh as there was in the last one. I really liked the last one. There was lots of alien overlords. But, no, the whole idea is we go back and forth. Richard puts his ideas forth. I scream and shout at him. And if anything, Richard, from me doing that, hopefully you'll learn to articulate your words a wee bit better. Maybe put your point across a wee bit better.
I'm trying. I'm sure trying to learn. Yeah, what's great for the audience of this is that Math is going to make most of the objections that the audience would make.
Hopefully.
And then they can refine their points in their individual views and make more defined objections, having already gotten past the big ones.
Well, yeah. You've got the round view that you usually have that everybody has of you, Richard, in the community, and then at least with this they can get a wee bit closer. You can iron out your points and hopefully give it a bit more volume, so to speak, to the story.
Sounds good.
Well, on that, we are on tablet 8. We were just about to finish. Last week we didn't get through very much because there was a lot of back and forth. Hopefully this week we'll get through a few more pages, but we'll definitely have fun. So, Richard, tablet 8, I will hand it over to yourself.
That'd be great. I cannot see it presently.
Oh, that would be a very good idea. How about that? There you go.
All right. La 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 la.
I knew I did something wrong. I couldn't have got everything right in one go. That just wouldn't have happened. You know, there had to be fucking something.
Live production.
Right, okay. Go on.
Just as day began to dawn, Gilgamesh addressed his friend, saying, Enkidu, your mother, the gazelle, and your father, the wild donkey, engendered you. 4 wild asses raised you on their milk, and the herds taught you all the grazing lands. May the roads of Enkidu to the cedar forest mourn you, and not fall silent night or day. May the elders of the broad city of Urukhaven mourn you. May the people who gave their blessing after us mourn you. May the men of the mountains and hills mourn you. May the pasture lands shriek in mourning as if it were your mother. May the cypress and the cedar which we destroyed in our anger mourn you. May the bear, hyena, panther, tiger, water buffalo, jackal, lion, wild bull, stag, ibex, all the creatures of the plains mourn you. May the holy river, oh my gosh, Alusha? Along whose banks.
Yeah, one of them.
I'm going to stick with 2 of those, yeah. Along whose banks we we grandly used to stroll mourn you. May the pure Euphrates, to which we would libate water from our water skins, mourn you. May the men of Urukhaven, whom we saw in our battle when we killed the bull of heaven, mourn you. Hold on a minute. The men of Urukhaven were seen from the battle.
Yes.
How far did they travel?
The men of Uruk, they went back there. The woman went and got the bull. They came down. Everybody was there. They killed it in front of everybody.
They killed it in front. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
May the farmer who extols your name in his sweet work song mourn you. May of the broad city who exalted your name mourn you. May the herder who prepared butter and light beer for your mouth mourn you. May who put ointments on your back mourn you. May who prepared fine beer for your mouth mourn you. May the harlot you rubbed yourself with oil and felt good mourn you. That was suggestive.
Yeah.
May of the wife placed a ring on you mourn you.
Everybody but...
May the brother...
Yeah,
What's
everybody
that?
has to mourn him. Everybody but...
Yeah, everyone should, yeah. That's appropriate. May the brothers go into mourning over you like sisters. The lamentation priests, may their hair be shorn off on your behalf. That's a weird coincidence, if it's a coincidence.
What?
Maybe it's just a tradition of the area.
That their hair must be
shaving off your hair is a sign of mourning. Maybe that's just an ancient Near East tradition thing. Enkidu, your mother and your father are in the wastelands. I mourn you. Hear me, O elders of Uruk. Hear me, O men. I mourn for Enkidu, my friend. I shriek in anguish like a mourner. You, axe at my side, so trusty at my hand. You, sword at my waist, shield in front of me. You, my festal garment.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's like for a festival.
I'm not
A sash over my loins. An evil demon appeared and took him away from me. My friend, the swift mule, fleet, wild ass of the mountain, panther of the wilderness. Enkidu, my friend, the swift mule, fleet, wild ass of the mountain, panther of the wilderness. After we joined together and went up to the mountain, fought the bull of heaven and killed it, and overwhelmed Humbaba, who lived in the cedar forest. Now what is this sleep which has seized you? You have turned dark and do not hear me, but his eyes do not move. He touched his heart, but it beat no longer. He covered his friend's face like a bride, swooping down over him like an eagle. And like a lioness deprived of her cubs, he keeps pacing to and fro. He shears off his curls and heaps them onto the ground, ripping off his finery and casting it away as an abomination. Just as day began to dawn, Gilgamesh and issued a call to the land. I think we should stop right there and back up.
Well, this entire
really
page, this entire page from there right down to here is just a list of people being sad.
Yes. Commanded to be sad.
Yes.
Expected to be sad.
Well, expected to be sad, yeah. Then we've got a list of how he's just making a reference, like the axe was very powerful in them days. The sword was very powerful in these days. You know, it's...
Sure.
Making reference to how important he was, how he was a battler with him, you know, his yeah. Just look at all the shit that we did together. Oh, fuck, you're dead. Let's cover your face and feel sad now.
Maybe the war rhetoric doesn't get stronger over time. I mean, this is much older than Old Testament stuff.
Mm-hmm.
and talk about your war rhetoric and symbols of war being used. It's just everywhere.
I wouldn't say symbols of war. Well, axe and this, but an axe can also be used to cut down a tree. The sword is obviously a symbol of war, but I think the reference he's making is just look at how important you are. You know.
Oh no, that's the way it's being used. I agree completely. But you're saying you're my axe, you're my sword, you're my shield, you're my friend, and on and on like that.
Yeah. Make a correlation to you, it's like you're my chainsaw, you're my hammer, you're my good buddy that I'd be lost without you. That I can't see anything else there, Richard, unless you want to put your wee touch to it.
Well, as usual, this just looks like the same thing again, just very, very repetitive. So I think this is at least reminding me of the parts of the Bible that say, even those that pierced him will mourn him, saying all will mourn him, well,
any story, if Nerdy and his fan fiction ended up with me dying, you would expect everybody in that story to mourn me. It doesn't mean that I'm anything important, though. Important to the story, though. Important to the story, yes, but anybody can, the connotation or the point I'm trying to make is the main character in a story, regardless of what the story is about, you would expect the people in the story to feel sorry and feel sad when he dies.
Don't you think it's a little hard to tell here if this is the Epic of Gilgamesh or the Epic of Enkidu? It
doesn't feel like the Epic of Enkidu at all. They both did the exact same thing and he died, and we are only halfway through the thing, so considering he's dead so soon, well, halfway into the book, I don't think it's the Epic of Gilgamesh or Epic of Enkidu, no. They both did everything together, but the story as a whole is the Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah. And we still have so much,
obviously,
yet to go, which is the reason I'm saying that. If we were at the end of the story, then I would say not is it the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it's the Epic of Enkidu and Gilgamesh. I still wouldn't give Enkidu the preference saying it's him on his own, even though he died.
Yeah.
Just because you die doesn't make you the main character. But we still have so much to go. We'll see how it goes, Ask me again in 20 pages.
I think you have a pretty decent overview. I would say that even some of the things you're probably able to predict a little bit where it's going to go from where it is right now.
We shall see. We shall see.
So we're at you Blacksmith. If you would move that something close to the...
Yeah.
Thank you. You Blacksmith. You lapidary, you coppersmith, you goldsmith, you jeweler, create, my friend, fashion a statue of him. He fashioned a statue of his friend, his features. Your chest will be of lapis lazuli, your skin will be of gold. See, to me, that's the Bible right there. It's saying create a religion.
No, it's saying create a statue. No, it's saying create a statue. It's creating an effigy, creating something, There's a giant Abraham Lincoln in Washington. Is there a religion about Washington?
Or is there a religion about like Lincoln in Washington? Somewhat.
No, is there not a giant Abraham Lincoln in Washington?
Yeah, and there's somewhat of a religion based around the actual Abraham Lincoln. There's folklore that there's things that they say he did, he didn't do.
I'll agree there's folklore. I wouldn't say there's a religion. There's folklore. There's stories. There's not a religion. There's maybe conspiracy theories, but stretching it to say that there's a religion about Abraham Lincoln?
I think somewhat that's true.
That may be true. Okay, we will go with the fact that that's true. Has nothing to do with this. My point is null and void. Then, just because they're fashioning a statue does not mean that they're creating a religion. It's just I
don't think. What I'm saying is, I don't think this is talking about a statue per se, but it's creating a likeness of the character. And the likeness of the character could be a written story. I mean, for instance, I don't know that we have found this statue anywhere, and it wouldn't be important to the story whether or not the statue actually exists.
It would if it's making a direct reference to the story. And it says this, and this about the statue in the story, and they all match up, then it is important.
And that's something I pick on with Christians. They say, "Oh, this certain thing is a real thing, thereby it verifies
in all honesty,
the text."
right? This guy is the king of this land. He was an asshole beforehand. He's now a decent guy because of this friend that he's went on these adventures with, and he's now dead. So if you're the king of the land and your best buddy that just died, that had to make everything better, you're going to make a statue of him. That's what they did in these days. They couldn't do a tweet. They couldn't get a hashtag going. We'll build a statue.
There's a large percent of the earth today that looks at the representation of Yahweh as Yahweh, if existent, is a jerk.
Pardon?
There's a lot of people that say, I have a God. I don't worship Yahweh. I think Yahweh exists, but I think Yahweh is a jerk.
Yes.
Okay. So actually in other religions, aside from Judaic religions, there's a lot of people that look at that expression exactly as this is being described right here.
There's a lot of people that look at this phrase, he fashioned a statue of his friend, in the context of this story, and will also agree that he's creating a religion.
That you just gave an overview of the story, saying that Gilgamesh was a jerk according to the people, right?
Yeah.
But there's a set of events that go on, and according to the people, he's not like they thought.
He's now better for the adventure and meeting a decent person.
Right.
He's improved himself, as we all hope to do as the years go by.
He's improved. You could say it that way.
Right.
Sorry. I'll just go back to reading.
No, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Yeah. I don't know. Think about it.
Impossible to explain? I don't know. Maybe it's impossible to explain.
Right. Well, from that, you've got your idea. I've got mine. I've judged my. We'll come back to yours. We'll come back to it. Right.
Okay. Let's say, just for argument's sake, maybe I can make this a little bit clearer, at least theoretically clearer. Not saying that anyone should believe me. I'm not saying that. They don't have to. Whatever. Let's say, for instance, people say, Yahweh, and he murdered, and he demanded murder, and all these horrible things. And then we learn later on that that's not actually what the text meant, but it was just prejudiced Christians saying horrible things because they themselves are self-righteous, which the text described them as.
So the text was wrong at the start, but wrong about God and right about them.
The text didn't change. The people change. The text does not change. It doesn't need to. It never did. No. But how people look at the story compared to the reality, and the reality correcting the way they looked at the story. Okay? It's a very good overview of what would happen if a God showed up, our righteous, rightful God showed up and was just like, hey, I'm cool with you. Everything's going to be fine. Don't freak out. And was actually kind and understanding and benevolent and things like that. Actually was. Not just claiming to be, but actually was.
Yeah.
Then obviously we would look at that expression differently from that point forward. And I think this story is doing exactly the same thing.
I understand that. You're given your reasoning behind why you're doing it, but I don't see the justification of why fashioning a statue to him means they created a religion. Maybe we need to read on and see what they do with the statue. If they all lament before it and all that and give it the attention that it deserves. Or we could read a paragraph and some fucker could have ran a bull into it and knocked it over. We don't know.
I imagine the statue should be destroyed.
We shall see.
Or ignored, or dismissed in some way, because that's what happens with actual religion at the end of it all. Thus, atheists exist. There's a falling away of the church.
So we've got Enkidu, who's the old god / new god / whoever, one of the Jesuses that's going to ascend to be a god in any way. And they're now building a statue to him. And you can see from don't worship the man, worship the statue. The fact the statue's there is now creating a religion. The whole...
That's the way I see it.
Golden calf thing, It's a representation of the god that's going to steal away from the real god. Is that what you're trying to put across?
Representation of the god that's going to steal away from for a time.
Yeah, right. But yeah. We're in agreement on that. That's, yeah. There you go. At least we got it across. It didn't take that long.
Wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad. Right. 10 lines are missing.
Figures.
Of course.
I had you recline on the great couch. Indeed, on the couch of honor, I let you recline. That's a 1. Yeah. I had you sit in the position of ease, the seat at the left, so the princes of the world kissed your feet. I had the people of Uruk mourn and moan for you. I filled happy people with woe over you. And after you died, I let a filthy mat of hair grow over my body, and donned the skin of a lion, and roamed the wilderness, just as day began to dawn. He undid his straps.
Wow.
I, Carnelian, and 85 miss.
No, that's 100. Oh man, that's 125 missing basically. We've got to your friend, your dagger 40. To Bibby. That sounds like something you would write on a card and leave on a gravestone or something. You're like, to my friend, your dagger to Bibby. Drink, and everybody has a cheers.
Sounds really profound. If you understood the references, it'd be great.
Oh, that's fucking insane, right? Well, I'll do my little reading. To my friend, your dagger to Bibby. There you go. Back to you. Oh, the Anunnaki are here. I think this is the first time that word Anunnaki has been used, or Anunnaki, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think that's the first time that's been used in this. I
believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Highlight that stitching colour.
Oh, boy. That guy. If anyone in the listening audience thinks there's a decent possibility that Sitchin may have been well-founded in his assertions, go to Digital Hammurabi and watch Bitchin' About Sitchin. And they talk about why he definitionally is wrong.
On that topic, on Sunday this week, I will be doing a stream with Mama Atheist where she will be interviewing Josh. So definitely, sweet. She's in the chat. Somebody pop her link into the chat for her channel this Sunday at midnight UK. Whatever the fuck that is for everybody else. I think maybe 9 o'clock. Is it 9 o'clock? I don't know. Figure it out. Use it for grand. Right. Mama Atheist channel Sunday for Dr. Josh.
Awesome. And what a great guest he is at all times.
Very, very good. Very nice guy to talk to, just to have the chat with. Like. So on that, back to the Anunnaki.
And 40 lines are missing. The judge of the Anunnaki. When Gilgamesh heard this, the Zikru of the river he created, just as day began to dawn, Gilgamesh opened and brought out a big table of sisu wood. A carnelian bowl he filled with honey. A lapis lazuli bowl he filled with butter. He provided and displayed it before Shamash.
Oh, God.
You know, you think only with digital technology can you have roboting, but apparently no. You can have roboting, complete freeze up for several minutes, all of it in clay tablets.
It is very sad that there, we are at least at 200 and 300 lines of missing text. Has to be at least upwards of that, maybe more. I would say maybe a third of it is repetitive and not needed, but
right.
It's still an awful lot to not give out context of the story,
It's tough.
Anyway, tablet 9.
Tablet 9.
After you, Richard.
After how does one Richard? Just a kidding. Over his friend Enkidu, Gilgamesh cried bitterly, roaming the wilderness. I am going to die. Am I not like Enkidu? Deep sadness penetrates my core. I fear death and now roam the wilderness. I will set out to the region of Utnapishtim. Utnapishtim.
Yeah.
Son of
Alberta?
Abartutu. Utnapishtim, son of Abartutu. Ubartutu.
We can call them Alberta. You know, Alberta.
And will go with utmost dispatch. When I arrived at mountain passes at nightfall, I saw lions, and I was terrified. I raised my head in prayer to sing. To the great lady of the gods, my supplications poured forth. Save me from...
Who knows?
Possibly the lions. He was sleeping in the night, but awoke with a start, with a dream. A warrior enjoyed his life. He raised his axe in his hand, drew the dagger from his sheath, and fell unto their midst like an arrow. He struck, and he scattered them. The name of the former... Jeez, man.
I know, it's so...
Okay, so it's just... I'm sure this part right here is just talking about the human tendency to review their own mortality. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes, whenever someone close to you dies, you're going to feel awful.
So it's really taking a god and anthropomorphizing it down to, or condescending it down to the human experience.
Well, from your point of view, because in the story the whole way through it has been pointed out that he is not a god. You know, he may have been made from them and he's fantastic and all, but you were saying it's an anthropomorph of...
Yeah.
Yeah, that word that I just fucked up.
Yeah. Lots of people do. It's okay.
Yeah, but the main story is not saying that. The story is saying and describing generally what human interaction is.
So when I see something like that, maybe I should just be more pronounced. When I see something like that, I think it's trying to make the god man-like so that man better associates to it. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of religious people would object to that and say that you shouldn't do that.
You humanize the god to make him a wee bit more understandable.
Sure.
You know, I can see that. But that's you putting that on the story, because in the story it doesn't say that. In the story it's just...
No, it doesn't say that in the story.
Two best buddies and one of them's feeling fucking awful.
Right. I guess the difference is talking about what the story says and talking about what the story is doing.
I think the difference is the fact that I'm taking Gilgamesh as what the story says and you're taking Gilgamesh as your interpretation.
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah. You know, if we expect Gilgamesh to be a god and interpreting as a god, we will have to make the statement that whenever he is describing a human emotion, it is them trying to put that human emotion on a god to make it easier for us to understand. But that's from...
Or maybe because it actually applies.
Oh, you can say that, man, but again, we're going with presupposition that the specific character is this to start with.
Right. That's the one thing I didn't like about the movie Lucy. As she, quote unquote, evolves into a more advanced being, she loses her emotional interactions with human beings. I think that just wouldn't be true. I think that the more advanced you are, the more in touch you would be. But that's a movie.
Have you watched? What do you call it? Begins with a fucking F. Can't think of the show. Doesn't matter. It'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
And it's
as soon as you try to forget about it, it'll come back.
In that show as well, the more the human mind evolved, the more logical it became, the less emotional it became.
I don't think that would be
Fringe.
true.
That's what the show's called. Fringe.
Oh.
You should watch Fringe.
I don't think I've heard.
Yeah. 5 series, 6 series. Very, very good show. No, you won't.
Oh. I won't.
No.
But I like that you recommended it to me. That was nice.
Right. Another 26 lines are missing.
Par for course, no problem.
Right. So this is Gilgamesh going on a quest. So Gilgamesh
Right.
has survived, and for whatever reason that's described in the 26 lines at the start, possibly his reasoning behind it and the start of it, they are missing. But Gilgamesh has left and went on a quest. The statue is just that one small itsy bitsy thing that was mentioned in the paragraph about the statue. I assume it's still in the city.
Yeah, he has left the general populace, apparently. The name of the second, the scorpion beings. The mountain is called Mashu. Then he reached Mount Mashu, which daily guards the rising and the setting of the sun, above which only the dome of the heavens reach, and whose flank reaches as far as the netherworld below. There were scorpion beings watching over its gate. Trembling terror they inspire. The sight of them is death. Their frightening aura sweeps over the mountains. As the rising and setting, they watch over the sun. When Gilgamesh saw them, trembling terror blanketed his face. What? When Gilgamesh saw them, trembling terror blanketed his face.
Yeah, so his
But
entire
he pulled
face
himself
got covered.
together and drew near to them. What's that?
So trembling terror blanketed his face. To me is like, it looks like he's afraid. He can't hide it. He's showing that he's afraid. It's all over him. Like
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
I'm looking at this and I'm reading, right? Scorpion beings, big mountain, which daily guards the rising and the setting of the sun. Now, you know, it's possibly in the east then as the sun comes up behind it. It's just a big fuck off mountain. They're giving it a story because it is so big relative to where they are. It ain't Mount Everest. It's just the biggest mountain around. And obviously if it reaches to the heavens at the top, it's going to have to reach to the hell at the bottom. So you've got these evil people now, scorpion beings, watching over the gate to the netherworld. I'm watching the cogs turning in your brain. You can always tell how hard you're thinking by how close you are to the camera.
Probably.
It's just a story, you know, describing this big massive mountain. Obviously, you know, it's the biggest mountain in the area. We're going to stick it in the story. Human nature describing what's happening around them.
You know, not so much.
Well, can you let us into your brain what it's thinking then? Because you're not talking much.
There's these. Okay, for instance, in the Christian, the Book of Revelation, there's these flying scorpions.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Which generally called a locust.
Can we go any further? Before we go any further, if I can ask some of the mods in the chat to check the chances of you seeing a scorpion in the ancient Far East. Were there lots of them? Were there
100% over time? I've been in the ancient Near East, and it wasn't ancient when I was there, but I've been in that area of the world. There is 100% chance of seeing a scorpion at some time. If you're there for 2 weeks, you're going to see one.
Right. So that they're very popular and could be used in different stories across time because there's so many of them. They're not nice. Generally, if they sting you and they're poisonous, they'll kill you because it's so with no medication, no anti-venom.
So there's this flying scorpion. Scorpions don't fly. Thing that in the Christian text is called a locust. It's also not a locust. And as it flies, it makes the sound of horses charging into battle wearing metal armor and the metal armor clanking together. So it's talking about, it sounds metallic. Okay? And I'm just wondering if these scorpions are going to be, well, they're already inspiring fear. Okay? In the Christian text, the flying scorpion things up in the air do inspire fear, and a lot of it. And I'm wondering if these are going to be if they're gonna make some kind of physical pain. I wouldn't be surprised if they made some kind of physical pain.
So you right. Well, just to point out, I would not be surprised that if the guardians to the netherworld caused some sort of physical pain for the person trying to get to the netherworld to get there. I don't think that's a giant leap.
I guess not. I wasn't looking at it that way, but I guess you're right.
You know, it's like, can I go into hell, please? No, you're not supposed to be here. Ah, go on, bang. You know, it's...
Wait. Why would a demon keep something out of hell?
I don't work for hell. I don't know the ins and outs.
I can't answer that.
You know...
Because I thought the idea was that hell wanted to fill hell, you know?
Yes,
anyway.
But they want to fill hell with souls of people, not physical bodies. The fact that somebody in the physical world would be able to transverse between it and hell is sort of a dampener to the guy in charge being in, you know...
That's a good fan fiction point. I'll give you that.
Just, you know, but it's using a child as a point of view. If you put a fucking stairgate at the bottom, you know, it's not that you don't want the child to go up the stair. You just... I don't know. I've lost my reference point. Okay, I think they're going to cause physical pain because they're guards defending something and somebody's trying to get past them. I don't think it's a giant leap to say that. I also think the fact that there's scorpions, as you say, everywhere in that time that could kill people, they will use them as a metaphor to, you know, they're evil people. They're bad things. They're not going to use fucking bunnies to guard hell.
Okay, so we're at the next indentation. If you could move that next indentation at he near the top, because the scorpion being is the next line.
Yeah.
The scorpion being, his female, answered him only. 2/3 of him is a god. 1/3 is human. The male scorpion being called out, saying to the offspring of the gods.
Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is demigod.
Yes, but why doesn't it say Gilgamesh there?
They're making a point because the woman referred to him. She is basically saying, look, he's 2/3 god, 1/3 human. Let him in. Gods can get in. He's 2/3 god. Let him in.
Why have you traveled so distant a journey? Why have you come here to me? Over rivers whose crossing is treacherous. I want to learn. And 16 lines are missing. I have come on account of my ancestor Utnapishtim. Boy, that's a toughie. Who joined the assembly of the gods and was given eternal life. About death and life, I must ask him. Oh. The scorpion being spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, never has there been, Gilgamesh, a mortal man who could do that. No one has crossed through the mountains for 12 leagues. It is darkness throughout. Dense is the darkness, and light there is none. To the rising of the sun, to the setting of the sun, they caused to go out 67 lines.
The magic words were cut from the story, cheaters.
Well, that way you can't gain eternal life. It's a good thing they're missing.
I love the way it's 60. The way they worded it, in which, you know, they could have just said 67 lines are missing from the story, but no, in which Gilgamesh convinces the Scorpion King. It's like these specific lines.
Wait a second. How do we know that is what happens in the text?
Because we could make the jump from him being outside hell to the next part of the story being in hell, that he probably convinced them to be allowed in.
Well, so much for me making my case about what the scorpions do.
Yeah, 67 lines are missing. This is very frustrating for you, Richard, more so than it is for me. So, but
okay, I heard something before that there is a best copy that we have. Is this the best copy that exists? I mean, is this the best it gets? 67 lines missing, 67 lines missing, 20, 40, 50 lines. This is as good as it is?
Well, I didn't do an in-depth search, but I could possibly ask Dr. Josh when I'm talking to him on Sunday to have a look at it, maybe suggest a better one where we could continue on from there. But as it stands now, this is the best we have. I can put a wee bit more looking into it, but I think a lot of this story was it not found from broken tablets and things like that, because they used broken tablets as foundations for a lot of these buildings. Whenever they dug the buildings up, they found these tablets. So, they're scrap. They're being thrown away as rubbish. So it is definitely possible that a lot of lines are missing. I'm sure somebody has probably sat down and maybe wrote a book where they've got the 6 different versions and put them all together and tried to make one good version, but
I don't know that much is available. I mean, I just don't know. It seems to me memory tells me that there was something that they mentioned on Digital Hammurabi. Oh, well.
I shall ask him for the best version.
Well, we're not going to go back and do it again, and the audience wouldn't be interested in us doing it. I might do it for myself, though.
Yeah, for this, so far, we've got this. 67 lines are missing. And now he's in hell, we assume.
Ta-da! It's suddenly in hell. Yay!
Right.
That would be deep.
Go for it.
Sorry.
I was just going to shout, moving on! Because everybody
Moving on, then! Though it be in deep sadness and pain, in cold or heat, gasping after breath, I will go on. Now open the gate. He's not in the gate yet. Weird.
Well, obviously he's convinced them.
What did they talk about for 67 lines? I want to know what the compelling story is.
Yeah, because it's clearly that he didn't kill them. So they're still alive. Yeah. He didn't sneak past them because they're having a conversation with him. He must have said something. That's why the word convince was used.
Yeah, that makes sense. The scorpion being spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "Go on, Gilgamesh, fear not." Now he's encouraging. The Mashu Mountains.
He's now his best buddy.
I'm telling you, this Gilgamesh guy must be like a king of logic. Must be amazing. The mountains, the ranges you may traverse. In safety may your feet carry you. Now he's giving him blessings. The gates of the mountain. As soon as Gilgamesh heard this, he heeded to the utterances of the scorpion being. Along the road of the sun. Is that an L?
Yep.
What's that supposed to be?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it just doesn't belong there at all. Maybe there's not even supposed to be a character there. Along the sun, so along the road of the sun he journeyed. That works, I guess. 1 league he traveled. Dense was the darkness. Light there was none. Neither what lies ahead nor behind does it allow him to see. 2 leagues he traveled, and dense was the darkness. Light there was none. Neither what lies ahead nor behind does it allow him to see. 22 lines are missing. I was just getting into it. 4 leagues he traveled. Dense was the darkness. Light there was none. Neither what lies ahead nor behind does it allow him to see. 5 leagues he traveled. Dense was the darkness. Light there was none. Neither what lies ahead nor behind does it allow him to see. 7 leagues he traveled.
Same shit.
Dense was the darkness. Light there was none. Neither what lies ahead nor behind does it allow him to see. 7 leagues he traveled. Dense was the darkness.
Right, it's just the same shit. It's the same shit repeated.
Yes.
10 leagues he traveled. 11 leagues.
It's like a mantra that's designed to put a person into like a trance-like state or something. How many editions of the mantra exist? 11, 12. Oh, wait a minute. It changed. Where did it change?
Changed to 10, and all it said was, 9. It changed to north wind licked his face, and then it went back to dense as darkness, light there was none.
9 leagues you traveled with something the north wind.
Well, that we should be
Licked
getting
at
there at
his
14.
face.
Like, if there's
Against
10
the
leagues he
south.
travelled and there's 4 leagues left. No.
Sure. What's that 4 right there? 4 leagues.
Possibly 4 leagues left, maybe. That's why I'm thinking, you know, if he's travelled 10, there's 4 leagues left, 14, 25 leagues are missing. Cedarwood, a gate, there was a sea, there were some thorns and briars. Oh look, there's rubies and emeralds. Oh no, another sea. We're walking on. And as Mama points out, the face licking was not about Dave. This is strange.
Weird. Well, this is a pre-Davin tablet.
I don't know. Dave could be that one that you've been looking for, Richard. You know, Dave could be the chosen one.
No, Eddie Murphy is the chosen one. Come on, man. Everybody knows Eddie Murphy's the chosen one.
Abraham Lincoln, what?
No, you go watch The Golden Child, and Eddie Murphy, the comedian, is the chosen one.
I absolutely and utterly love that movie.
I do.
That's a fucking class movie. And the guy who teaches him the awkward, the same fella that's from Big Trouble in Little China. It's a good movie. Yeah, we're all showing our age. Right, tablet 10. Well, how big is it? It's big enough. 35, 36. Yeah, we'll read to the end of page 36. It's coming up in the hour. So, yeah. Tablet 10, Richard.
The tavern keeper, Siduri, who lives by the seashore. She lives. The pot stand was made for her. The golden fermenting vat was made for her. She is covered with a veil. Gilgamesh was roving about, wearing a skin, having the flesh of the gods in his
You can
body.
put some music to the back of that there. That would be quite interesting.
But sadness deep within him, looking like one who has been traveling a long distance. The tavern keeper was gazing off into the distance. That's weird rhyming. Puzzling to herself, she said, wondering to herself, that fellow is surely a murderer.
See, this sounds very British. This definitely could be Dave. This old fellow, you know.
That fellow is surely a murderer.
It's very British.
Where is he heading?
Yeah, sounds definitely like something that Dave could say.
As soon as the tavern keeper saw him, she bolted a door, bolted a gate, bolted the lock. But at her noise, Gilgamesh pricked up his ears, lifted his chin, and then laid his eyes on her. Gilgamesh spoke to the tavern keeper, saying, Tavern keeper, what have you seen that made you bolt your door? Bolt your gate, bolt the lock. Do not let me in, I will break your door and smash the lock. The wilderness, Gilgamesh. The tavern keeper Siduri, who lives by the seashore, she lives. The pot stand was made for her. The golden fermenting vat was made for her. She is covered with a veil. Gilgamesh was roving about, wearing a skin, having the flesh of the gods in his body, but sadness deep within him, looking like one who has been traveling a long distance. The tavern keeper was gazing off into the distance, puzzling to herself. She said, wondering to herself, that fellow is surely a murderer.
Right. What?
I don't know why.
That's literally the same wording.
Exactly the same.
Like right up to here where it just changed. I am Gilgamesh, I killed the Guardian. We don't even know who the Guardian is.
Nope.
Maybe the Guardian was how he convinced the Scorpion people to kill somebody to get past.
Maybe there's no guardian that he kills.
Alright. Okay, he's going to start pronouncing all the wonderful things that he's fucking done for ages and bring in Enkidu, and that's going to be another one. Right. We are here.
So we'll start at 37.
There we are here. Highlight with the yellow. Right. Let me see. Oh, I've lost it. Where are we? There we go. Richard. So, thoughts on tonight's episode? So annoyed.
I have no thoughts because half of it was missing. I don't know what to do with this. No, I mean the similarities that I see because of my extreme prejudice and biases. I still hold are there. I'm starting to doubt that the scorpions are the same as the biblical scorpions, however.
Possibly, yes, just bastards, because back in them days there were scorpions everywhere that would have killed everyone that stung them.
Although a like term is used, it seems that it's doing a different thing in the story. The guard to the tunnel to the gates of hell.
Well, technically not the guards. If in them 36 lines or whatever the fuck was missing, there was a person called the Guardian.
Right, and we don't know who that is.
We don't know who that is, but the fact that it's part of the story, I would make the inference that, you know, he came across the scorpions went, you can't get past us unless you kill this guy. The guy came out, he killed him, then the scorpions were like, fuck, damn, and that's why they started praising him.
Might be.
You know?
Might be. It's hard. I'm so reminded of Monty Python and the sorcerer at the bridge. I love that scene so much.
See, you do watch
African
some TV.
Or European?
You do watch some TV. You do watch some movies, Richard.
Years ago, I did.
Right. Well, yes, I have to agree with you that there was a fuck ton missing. We will definitely have to look into maybe trying to get a wee bit of a better version or see what we can get, or yeah, and make some motions and ask about that, see what we can find. Other than that, Richard, I don't think we had anything silly, crazy, out of the league of normal that we need to add to the list.
Not any more than normal, no.
No. It's just the out of the normal crazy that we write on the list. So, have you anything coming up this week?
You know, I am having a lot of issues getting people to actually keep their word and come on my channel. Now, they'll say things like, I really like the conversations you've had. I enjoy, listening to you talk about these things. And I want to participate, but then actually getting a schedule. And I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be that guy that bugs somebody every week or twice a week. I don't want to be that guy. And I think maybe I have no choice. And the only times I ever got on Skylar Fiction, which we had sometimes big fun,
yeah,
as you know, was when I just bugged the crap out of him. I mean, is that what it takes? You just have to be annoying? Is annoying okay today? Is that acceptable? I don't get it. I
don't think annoying is ever acceptable. Possibly better of slamming down dates and stuff. Maybe could be worked on. And I'm not sure, man. You know, as you said at the start, it's hard to get your point across. And if people keep seeing the hardness in getting the point across, they could see it as a bad, not a bad conversation, but nothing that would be achieved in the conversation. If you spend 20 minutes of an hour-long talk talking about what you're trying to talk about rather than what you're actually talking about, you don't get anywhere.
Well, Barney Tearspell and I just had a conversation on my channel that I thought went really well. We both had a really good time, and promised to do another. And I'm just going to go ahead and call out Atheist Pastor right here, right now. I'm just going to call him out and say, look, dude, why are you're like, let's do this. And then when we go to actually do it, you're like, let's not do this. So which is it? Because I got arguments against Atheist Pastor because I said there were grape-like objects sticking up from a tree branch from a eucalyptus tree. Someone picked one, handed it to him, and there's 3 in the camera shot that he said don't exist. He showed me 3.
Well, that's between you and him. I know you had a wee Thursday thing sort of be scheduled, so I don't know. Maybe reach out, send him a text message, see what comes back. I'm not sure.
I'm just wondering how biased a person can be that they can literally have the branch in their hand with an example on it and not see it. I'm just wondering how biased you could possibly be.
Peter in the chat says he's down to have a conversation. When the fuck am I invited?
Peter is invited at all times. All I want from Peter is just a time zone and a date and a time, and we'll do it anytime. I'll wake up 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Peter is awesome. I'll stay up all night if I have to. I don't care.
Peter's one of the few people in the community that I can definitely be myself with and be a complete nutter asshole, and he'll still talk to me the next day.
That's because he gets the joke.
Well, on that note, what we will do is we will round it up. I have nothing this Sunday, but as I mentioned earlier, I will be having helping Mama out on her show. We will be interviewing Dr. Josh. This Tuesday, I have Susan coming on from Divine Disbelief. Hopefully this month on Tuesday, we're going to start at least doing one interview a week with a woman in the community, somebody we can give a voice to, because definitely too much of us guys on the screen need more women on the screen. So that will start the women of the community, hopefully for June. And other than that, we shall see you later. And well, I'll oinking out, even though, oinking out. See you all later. Bye.